The gaming industry has been facing massive layoffs, and unfortunately, if you're someone who works at an Embracer subsidiary, you're not going to be quite sure if your job is on the line or not, given they have laid off thousands of people. But now we're finding out that 3D Realms and Slipgate Ironworks reportedly were hit with layoffs as Embracer continues to cut. I have a few different things that I want to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and consider supporting through Patreon or via YouTube memberships. Now, I've had to talk about Embracer not just because of the layoffs, but primarily Volition and the Saints Row reboot disaster that happened. That game definitely burned them, but now we're finding out that they are cutting even more jobs. So this is an archive, but it says it looks like more Embracer studios have been hit with layoffs. 3D Realms founder Scott Miller, who doesn't work at the current incarnation of the studio, but runs reborn indie publisher Apogee Entertainment, said on Twitter that a lot of people, including core devs at 3D Realms and Slipgate Ironworks, have all been put out of work. Now, of course, very iconic names being thrown around here. 3D Realms was founded as Apogee Software in 1987, but rebranded to 3D Realms in the mid-90s as the company became known for FPS games like Duke Nukem 3D and Shadow Warrior. And then, of course, in 2014, it was ultimately acquired by the Danish company SDN Invest, and the part owner of Inceptor Entertainment, now known as Slipgate Ironworks, and returned to actively publishing games like Ion Maiden and Ghost Runner. In 2021, 3D Realms and Slipgate were acquired by Embracer, put under the control of Saber Interactive Division, and now, unfortunately, all of these subsidiaries are facing major layoffs. So, Scott Miller had said, "Several sources have told me this bad news. Sorry to hear about another drop of the axe by Embracer Group, this time landing on Danish 3D Realms. A lot of people, including core devs, will be looking for work ASAP. Hopefully they land jobs soon. More and more sources have told me at least half the company is laid off. We are looking at hiring at least 2 to 3. This is, not a very abnormal situation at this point. Everyone is hitting layoffs, but games just make so much money that it's not like we are going to see, this massive decline in the gaming industry. I mean, a lot of the positions that have been laid off over the past couple of months have been, I've got to be honest, either, overstaffed positions, or in the case of something like Bungie, they laid off almost all of their DEI club members, like the women at Bungie, Latinx at Bungie, like their LGBT at Bungie clubs. All of those positions were laid off, and they're all pretty useless. So I don't feel bad for them, but in this case, they were told, it seems, that they were not going to be facing any layoffs anytime soon, and unfortunately now, right at the holidays, it is a complete 180 and they are. Miller's current indie publisher, Apogee Entertainment, isn't owned by Embracer and hasn't been associated with 3D Realms' name since 2021. This one hits me hard because I worked with the new 3DR from 2014 up until when they were bought out by Embracer 2.5 years ago, and this is a problem that I said would happen because Embracer over the years has been buying. They have been, purchasing billions of dollars worth of studios and properties, and ultimately, eventually, they were going to face problems, and we were not sure if it was just going to be money, if it was going to be having to close down studios. But now, all of this is happening, and it seems like it is because of the collapse of that major $2 billion deal that fell through for them. I bet that they were hoping that that was going to go through, and since it didn't, now they have to lay off lots of people. And back in November, we had heard that they had laid off roughly 904 staff, which is 5% of their workforce in totality. But of course, since then, there have been, several layoffs, including now 3D Realms and Slipgate Ironworks. And of course, this all leads back to Volition. I mean, clearly they are burnt from the Saints Row reboot. Just look what they did. Saints Row series developer is no more. Volition shuts down after 30 years. You don't just shut down a 30-year-old company if you knew that they could turn things around. They have a name, they have a reputation, and while yes, the new people that were hired for the Saints Row reboot clearly did not care about the franchise, and they killed the name Saints Row, you still, again, don't shut down a name that people know, a company with 30 years worth of reputation, because yes, Saints Row Reboot was an epic failure, they still had many good games and good releases under their belt, and people would have come back. I don't know in exactly what capacity. Maybe if they did a 180 from the Saints Row reboot and tried to go back to what made the franchise fantastic, they would have been given another chance. Maybe I would have even given them another chance, who knows, but it doesn't matter now because they were shut down. Of course, I've talked about this quite a few times on the channel, but we're gonna sum it up anyway. In a message posted to its official LinkedIn page back on August 31st, 2023, of course. This past June, our parent company Embracer announced a restructuring program to strengthen Embracer and maintain its position as a leader in the video game industry. As part of that program, they evaluated strategic and operational goals and made the difficult decision to close Volition effective immediately. I don't really think that it was that hard of a decision for them, seeing as how quickly it all happened. And I mean, it's not like they weren't given a chance to turn the Saints Row reboot around either, but ultimately there was no way that they could have done that. They would have had to completely kill off the game and basically restart it. And that is just not what they did. I mean, they went forward with it gung-ho, double, triple, quadrupled down, and we have heard some rumors and some reports that ultimately it was more of Deep Silver's fault because they were pushing the developers to go in the direction of like a woke / modern reboot, but at the same time we still have to blame the developers because ultimately they were the ones who created the content, and of course we'll never know the truth behind the social media situation where they had their social media manager going online attacking anybody criticizing the game, saying things like haters are gonna hate. We will never know if she was being told by Deep Silver or other people at Embracer to do this, or if her and the development team just decided ultimately to do it. It's not like we're ever going to get the solid information, but we have heard reports that the game was originally supposed to be very different and closer to the original games that made the franchise so iconic, which would have been fantastic. I mean, people have been waiting years for GTA 6. Saints Row has always been known as GTA's little bro, so it would have been great to have a good game to fill that time, but unfortunately that is not what happened. Volition was shut down after 30 years, and Embracer at this point is embattled, and they have laid off thousands of people, and I don't really see this slowing down anytime soon, judging by, the fact that they will not directly respond to this or respond to questions about how many more layoffs the company is going to face. I don't think that it's going to slow down anytime soon. Only time will tell, but it does seem that, the iconic 3D Realms and Slipgate Ironworks have been hit with layoffs as Embracer continues to cut. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.